everyone, to Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And tonight, my show is about the legal battles. Specifically, I will be talking tonight about the lawsuit against the Trump administration and who the plaintiffs in that lawsuit will be. They include, of Otro Lado, lawyers Nicole Ramos and Erika Pinheiro, as well as an accused Antifa organizer, alleged Antifa organizer, Nate Dennison. And we'll take a deep dive into Nate Dennison's background information and how he is connected to many people in the border support network, as you know, has been investigated for their involvement in international human smuggling. We will also take a look at a video of a Al Otro Lado volunteer at El Chaparral, Tijuana, at the border crossing there in Mexico on the Mexican side, that shows an activist named Mitchell Verterer, who I've shared videos of here in the past, assaulting a blogger from California, as well as a Mexican reporter for which he went to jail. He is in this video instructing migrants on asylum seeking and giving them forms and telling them to go to Antifa headquarters and Nicole Ramos, Al Otro Lado headquarters, Enclave Caracol. And we will also take a look at the new Caravan What's Up chat that includes people from El Salvador and Guatemala who are wanting to join this new August caravan. All of that coming up on tonight's show. You don't want to miss it. Invite your friends, tell your relatives, and also I want to thank you guys. This is very close to the end of the month, and the longer we stay in Tijuana, the more reporting we're going to be able to bring you, the more locations we're going to be able to investigate, but that depends on your support. We would love for you, if you haven't already, or if you want to, again, please donate to our travel fund for our upcoming trip to Tijuana. We would like to, ideally stay there for about a week, so we have enough time to really dig in and go to various places that I have wanted to investigate. We brought you great reporting the last time we were down there. We want to do it again with all of our equipment, travel expenses, hotel, and all of that covered, so we can do the necessary work. So please support us if you can. With a donation. It's tax deductible. How can folks get a hold of us and support our work?
Well, there's many ways to get a hold of us. One is that basically go to Facebook, watch our shows, and we do appreciate everyone who has been supporting our work. And we just got a donation yesterday, and the person didn't let me have their name to be able to announce who it is. But thank you very much. You know who you are, and we really appreciate that. And you can get a hold of us by calling our message line, leaving a voice message. And that number is 701-566-0917. Again, that number is 701-566-0917. You can tweet us at media_PPP. And you can email Cindy at kpppfm.com or me, Duke, at kpppfm.com or Nemo at kpppfm.com. Also, like I said, you can go to Facebook at 88.1 FM. Fargo Moorhead, the People's Press Project, and Mexi-Can. Now, Cindy mentioned our website, kpppfm.com. You can go there and look at our past shows. You can listen to the audio files, the ones we prepare that sometimes go on the air here in Fargo Moorhead. We have to edit them to be able to be played on the local airwaves. So, we put in some station breaks, and we take out any swear words and things like that. And we want it to be interesting audio for people to listen to, so that airs here in this community. And also, when you're on our website, please go to our donate page. It's kpppfm.com/donate. Every donation is tax deductible, and I try to get a receipt out to you within a day or two from when the donation is made. But we are raising money to be able to go back to Tijuana, and that would just be excellent. We could bring you so much information and so much that's going on there that would be beneficial for all of us to hear, all of us to see, and the opportunity to work with Oscar again would just be incredible. So please donate and help us reach our goals, and thank you very much for listening and watching. And like I said last night, we had 2 weeks of technology issues, and we've got them fixed. We had a really seamless show last night. I expect the show to be seamless for you tonight too, and very good quality.
Well, I believe that it's going to be an amazing trip because I've had the honor of working alongside Oscar, and he is one of the hardest working media producers I have had the opportunity to work with. So he's already planning our itinerary.
Oh, yeah.
And he is waiting for us. Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Mm-hmm.
I know he is. So, folks, make that dream come true. We want to go and fulfill our promise. So let's dive right into today's show. This is the ACLU lawsuit, and it is by ACLU SoCal. And you can see there, they put out a press release on their website that the ACLU is filing a lawsuit on behalf of humanitarian activists targeted by Trump officials. I will share the link to this press release with you so you can all take a look at it. But here is the screen capture of the ACLU press release that shows who the plaintiffs are. The plaintiffs in this screenshot, as you can see, are the Nora Phillips and Erika Pinheiro from Otro Lado. Nora is the co-founder of the nonprofit organization Otro Lado from Los Angeles that provides legal and mental health services to migrants and immigrants. And Erika Pinheiro is the co-founder of Otro Lado, who organizes legal clinics in Tijuana, Mexico. The third plaintiff there is Nathaniel Dennison, listed as a documentary filmmaker, shelter volunteer, and founder of Through My Eyes Foundation. So you must be asking yourself, what does all of that mean? Take a look at the pleading from the ACLU SoCal complaint. Here's the pleading that shows you that this is Nora Phillips, Erika Pinheiro, and Nathaniel Dennison, who are suing the United States Customs and Border Protection, Mark Morgan, United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Matthew Albense, Federal Bureau of Investigations, and Christopher Wray. So they're suing the FBI, the federal government, and Border Patrol from that pleading there. And in this pleading, it's pretty interesting. I recommend that you take a look at the whole thing and read it. It gives us a lot of detail that maybe you don't know about these plaintiffs, as well as the lawsuit allegations themselves. I will be sharing the link to the filing for all of you to take a look at on your own. But I found it very interesting that they mention not only Otro Lado, but the Central American Resource Center. They also talk about other people in this complaint, as well as giving more detail of the defendants that are mentioned in this complaint and the allegations against the Trump administration and Jeff Sessions. And I don't even know why he's named here, because he's not there anymore.
Not there anymore. Nope.
No. So it's interesting, basically, what they're alleging here. The basis of their lawsuit is they feel that this is illegal spying that has targeted them. What do you make of this? The secret programs, after the secret programs disclosure, it says the defendants routinely shifted their justifications for their unlawful surveillance operation. Is the government's surveillance apparatus, including the FBI and Border Patrol illegal, Duke, in your opinion? What do you think about this?
It's, again, this is an approach, an Antifa approach. All government is bad. And since these people were doing stuff and they deserve to be watched by all these agencies because we've shown you a lot of stuff that they've been doing that is illegal, that's not ethical, that is actually coordinating a migrant caravan, doing human smuggling, doing trafficking, doing these different things. They should be looked out and looked into. But again, these are social activists, and they believe the government is spying on them, that they're being spied on, and they turn it into that issue that their basic civil rights are being violated by our government, and they're not in the wrong, and they're just spinning it because they are named in these databases. They are being investigated, and they actually have to. They're scared because they're being watched, and they're still trying to do the manipulation that they've been doing, and still trying to do the crime that they've been doing, but they're being watched closely. So they're hoping all of you will go on their side and think, well, they're just being unfairly targeted, and we're going to sue Trump over this. There's been so many lawsuits. I've seen these faktivist groups that just do a pleading, get it in there, pay their filing fees, and it goes nowhere.
Well, I don't know if the allegations that the government has made or that other, press outlets have made about Mr. Dennison are true, but I'm going to show you both his denials and what he says about it here in this Facebook post where he's talking about the lawsuit. Nate says the following. Could you read that for me, sweetie?
Yes, Nate Dennison. Hey there. I'm so in need of a media person. I'm currently working at Boca in Richmond while navigating the legal complications and trying to get the nonprofit back along the border. So much is going on, I just can't do this alone. My time has been stretched incredibly thin as it is. Today I should be behind a computer and focused on all the legal matters, but I'm at work instead. As with most other days, they just change my hours so I can't do my work early in the morning as I have been. Please send me a message if this is something you're interested in. I'm broke right now, but have infringement and defamation money coming at some point. Then he has the screenshots that were in the
ACLU SoCal lawsuit.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me just tell you, I don't think that his imagined money coming in from these lawsuits is real because, as I have said to you before, those of you who don't know me, I have a degree as a paralegal, and I worked for nearly 2 decades as a paralegal, and I worked on defamation lawsuits. And you don't just have to prove that defamation occurred, which, the affirmative defense for somebody making allegations that you defamed them is that the information you put out was correct or true, right? You also have to prove damages, meaning that the direct cause of said defamation caused you to lose money, lose your job, lose following, etc., lose opportunities, and it has to be a direct correlation. So they're very, very hard to prove. Most of the cases aren't even accepted in court. I think he's got a little bit of a big head about the fact that the ACLU is punting on this case and suing the government, Border Patrol, and the FBI. I don't know if it is all a lot of bravado to keep it, to make these people who, the spotlight has been shown on for so long, seemingly protected from criticism, but I have seen this kind of bluffing lawsuit before. The Water Protector Legal Collective did things like this. Freshet did things like this. The Lakota Law Project did things like this. We saw this all before. We're going to sue the president, and then they don't do anything with it. The case doesn't go anywhere. It's a lot of bluster on which they raise millions of dollars of funds because they know that there is a large percentage of people in our country that have this knee-jerk hatred toward this administration, and many of you may have every right to feel that way, but the knee-jerk reaction causes people to blindly throw money at things that they think are opposing Trump, even if those things aren't really truly opposing Trump. And I don't know, again, like I said, I don't know much about Mr. Dennison. I have shown posts of his in past shows, but let's go through his profile together and see what we can learn, okay?
All right.
Here is his Facebook page. This is what it looks like, and you see he's the executive director of Through My Eyes Foundation. Here's the about from Richmond, Virginia. He is from St. Louis originally. And here is his about information. You can see there that he has the .org Through My Eyes Foundation. And here is Dennison's post about, well, I looked for certain key figures. I was looking for certain key figures that I could, this new Facebook feature where you look on your mobile device. I don't know why we can't do it on your laptops. That would be awesome. But you look on your mobile device and you go to their page. And if you click on the three little dots in the right-hand corner, it gives you an option to search the page for any name or any word and see if they've ever talked about it. I searched for names that are connected to the planning, the operating of this border support network, the funding of it at all different sorts of levels in media, as influencers, as activists, as Antifa leaders, etc. And let's see what I found. First, I typed in Frances Fisher, the actress from Hollywood that was involved all the way back in Standing Rock. And yep, she was tagged in a post by Vanessa Dundon, a.k.a. Susie Desba, water protector, as she calls herself, and activist from Standing Rock protests. And then I looked up Juan B. Mancias, and sure enough, there was both posts that tagged Juan Mancias and Evan Duke, as you can see, along with the Carrizo Comecrudo tribe and their no border wall actions. At the very top, you can see there that this was a search that I did on Nate's posts and photos and things for the name Evan Duke. So here is Evan Duke and Juan B. Mancias. Next, I typed in the name of Lilith Sinclair. Her real name is Kiara Horsley. And she is a self-defined Antifa leader that started the Border Support Network that administrates that page along with Evan Duke, who is also openly anarchist, anti-fascist, advocates for violence, as you saw in my previous shows. Here's a second page of posts that tag or Lilith Sinclair and or are connected to Lilith Sinclair and Mr. Dennison. And here's the third one that also includes, can you go back to that second one, please, for a second? If you go to the second one, you can see that Nate Dennison responds to Lilith Sinclair because he knows her. He knows her intimately, and he talks to her and says, I'm not really sure. It was created after I left Tijuana. And he says, Al Otro Lado just posted. So he is familiar with Al Otro Lado and the other plaintiffs, okay? Next, I'll show you the third one. This one includes Joshua Nichols. If you scroll down, you'll see that Joshua Nichols is tagged in that first post and also in the second. Then I typed in the name of one of the people at the Carrizo Comecrudo camp with Juan B. Mancias, where a lot of these Antifa connected and Standing Rock connected activists can be found. And guess what, guys? Guess what? What I found was that we've got Jesse Garcia tagged in here. Jesse Garcia was sought by police at the camp. For what, I'm not sure. But you can see that there's posts by Vanessa Dundon talking to Jesse Garcia, and also Jesse Garcia posts, which include Nate Dennison and the Yauli village and Somisek villages. In addition to that, here's another post that includes not only Jesse Garcia, but also sex worker. Lilith Sinclair and Doug Warren are sex workers. That's what they call themselves. And also Antifa. And finally, Evan Duke. So there's Douglas Warren, otherwise known as Nightlife Jones. When they talked about that Jesse dude getting visited by police. In this post by Warren, he says they were FBI, but as I showed in previous shows, it was actually Texas law enforcement. And of course, there's a post by Evan Duke and Susie Desba once again. Also, I checked to see who else was connected. Here's another page of Jesse Garcia connected posts that go to the drone pilot Mason Bobby Leonard of Standing Rock fame, as well as Juan B. Mancias. And in this next page, you see that you got another drone pilot, the cracked out or methed out Orlando Cruz, who I told you also has made an appearance at those camps along the border. And finally, here is one where I did a search for Jesse Garcia with all of these folks in a post, their comment by Jesse, saying he tags Juan Mancias, Douglas Warren, Evan K. Duke III, Cindy Cochran, Nate Dennison, and Michael Allen. The whole gang is here, folks. Wow. I also did a search for the Standing Rock photographer that later we saw in the tense confrontations with police in Tijuana, Rob Wilson. And he was tagged in the posts by Lilith Sinclair on her page, Activism Actually, and in another post with Lilith Sinclair, as you can see there on your screens. And finally, I checked out some of the other activists connected to many of the funding organizations that fund Hollywood stars and political campaigns, including Jay Ponte. And as you can see, Jay Ponte was tagged in these links by Susie Desba posts on Facebook. I also looked up Doug McLean, and there he showed up. Doug McLean is there, linked with, and if you go to the very top there, Duke, it shows you these are all from Nate's posts, photos, and page. And finally, here is Evan K. Duke posting some of those pictures from. I'm not going to go through all of those. If you want to look up all his connections to all of these people, on which I have already done long, lengthy, many reports about their connections to crime, about their connections to, all sorts of criminal activity, including fake marriages, including practicing law without a license in Mexico, and much more, then go back and watch those shows. I am just going to show you some of them because, I like to show my work. In this post in which Nate Dennison is linked with Evan Duke and Juan Mancias, you can see a picture of all of those folks that were at the camp, including Wiaka Eagleman, right?
Right.
Juan Mancias, Doug Warren. Well, Nate Dennison is in that picture where they're all holding their fists up in front of the river. Nate Dennison is in these pictures. And in fact, here's another one of them in which Dennison is with the whole group in front of the sign for the Butterfly Center. You know who he is? I'll show you a close-up of him so you can see him up close from that picture. He's the one with the bushy hair. Big, long, bushy hair and a beard. That's him. And next in scene 3, we have Evan Duke and Dennison there on the left-hand side of with his bushy hair and his baseball cap backwards. Next to Evan Duke, cleaning up the cemetery with Wiaka Eagleman, Doug Warren, and Brendan Tucker.
Yeah,
right?
Right.
You remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
All these people are on the list, by the way. All these folks are on the
They're on the list.
Well, where else did we find them? Well, here was a post, one of the posts in there in which all these folks were tagged by Vanessa Dundon about our station being fake news. Incidentally, they have been trying to discredit our reporting for years now. Why? Because we exposed all of their involvement in the crime against Kathleen Bennett, a woman whose mother was taken away, who was put in jail by these folks with false accusations, who was framed for no reason other than she threatened to expose a lot of the fraud they were committing at Standing Rock. And they left her to rot in jail, and they put her mother in an early grave, her 82-year-old Oglala Lakota mom, and this Oglala Lakota woman. They claim to be protectors of Indigenous people, vulnerable people, etc. But in the case of Kathleen Bennett, they left that woman to rot.
Mm-hmm.
And had it not been for our investigative journalism for over a year, she probably would have ended up in jail for over 15 years.
Yep.
Fortunately, we got her a lawyer. We showed all the evidence on over a year and a half worth of shows that proved that all of these people have framed her and lied. And we got her exonerated and her charges completely dropped. This made all of these phonies look horrible because they were supporting the people that framed her. So since then, we have continued to expose one by one the fraudulent actors, the bad people seeking fame and fortune off of the misery of others, like Vanessa Dundon. And they don't like that too much. So here she said she is calling for a challenge for memes against our station and to tell people not to tune in or give us any views. Categories that you can make memes in are as follows, or suggested as follows: No Dapple, Water Protector for Life, Mini Wichoni memes, Duke and Cindy couple memes.
Oh.
They're attacking our marriage there.
Yeah.
Cindy's most outrageous lie memes. Stay tuned, love Cindy memes. Cindy is last most inaccurate around memes. And then an open category plus Cindy I love true memes. And then there's a slur there that includes a bad word I'm not going to repeat on the radio. And of course, because I am exposing the truth and I married a Anglo man, I am a white-washed, assimilated Anglo-Spaniard, and I am not a Mexican with indigenous blood. Not according to them. Here's the second part of this post, in which she claims that all of my claims about my jobs, but I still didn't help Kathleen Bennett or her mom, and later found out Kathleen was a POS when her whole family shunned them, returning her. Well, as it turned out, that is, a lie that we proved with video evidence when we returned her mom to her family, as well as the fact that we showed our receipts in terms of getting her case dismissed and paying for her lawyer and helping her get out of jail, find a place to live, and even taking her home. And she goes on to double down on her shameful comments about the framing of Kathleen Bennett and the early grave they put her elderly mother in, saying that Kathleen, who was exonerated, actually committed elder abuse. Once again, defaming a woman who's now been exonerated, Kathleen Bennett, for a crime she definitely did not commit, elder abuse against her mom. And it says here that I defended an elder abuser, that I helped re-expose her to her abuser, and that if I saw what they did, Grandma would have been loved, not shamed like Kathleen did and Cindy, which killed Grandma. Oh my God. These people are deflecting. What do you think about the craziness of these posts when they were responsible for putting this woman in an early grave? It's crazy.
Well, the first thing I think of is that what are they scared of? And for Vanessa Dundon to be like trying to expose anything truthful is a laugh, She's very sloppy, live streamer or whatever. But it's, it's like the reason we bring it up is because the Standing Rock leadership, the fake leadership, is very involved in the migrant caravan and involved in all sorts of things. We wouldn't be talking about this stuff anymore if they weren't showing up all over the country and in Mexico, mucking things up for the people of Mexico and victimizing a whole bunch of people. So for Vanessa to be one of the people that's hanging out in one of these camps and just trying to save the butterflies has to poke at our shows and say all these phony things about us. We don't tend to respond to this sort of stuff, but this pattern is important to expose in tonight's show because it just keeps on going like the battery rabbit, energizer.
And we have to show the tags, who she tagged on this post, okay? So I wanted you to go to the tags for this post so you can see who all she tags.
All right.
Here's the Vanessa Fake News KPPP post. And it's got a picture of Honey Boo Boo at the bottom there. Here's the tags on this. Now, I'm not going to show every single tag on here, but some of the important ones. You can see Gary Brewer, one of the veterans that helped start the Juan Mancias Evan Duke camp at the border. Madeline Kelly Merritt, the Jay Ponte connected LA Divest actress and politician from California that brought us Activate Now and worked with Ed Higgins. Mm-hmm. You've got Jesse Garcia, the guy I was just telling you was sought by police at those camps. And here's some more tags. We got Miko Hayes of the Daily Hayes, who's attacked our reporting in the past and was also at Standing Rock. Orlando Cruz from Standing Rock, water protester fame, and drone pilot. Frankie Aruna, connected to AIM, and Juan Mancias. LaDonna Allard from the call out, the Otra Llorona, the other Llorona that cried and begged for money, which she got millions of dollars from. And the fake Indian, Desiree Kane, with the Indian problem. They got Felicia Teeter, the actress that was with Orlando Cruz.
Okay.
And then this next one, you've got Nate Dennison. Anybody else down there? Not that we know, but those are the people tagged in the post. And here's some of the comments. This one is one where she and Errol Medicine are talking back and forth. And she's saying that I've made so many false statements about Errol Medicine, saying that his name isn't real. And I, at one point, when I first found Errol Medicine and their involvement with Bertie Gutierrez, I didn't know that was a real name. And I said, it doesn't sound like a real name. I don't think that's a real person.
Yeah.
I thought it was the name of the group to which the guy that's named Errol Medicine, Wiaka Eagleman, and Dwayne Redwater belonged, and that they called their group Errol Medicine, which I later corrected when I realized it was his real name. So the fact that I am easily confused by people like Vanessa Dundon, who calls herself Susie Desba and has 3 or 4 different names, as many of these activists do, to conceal their true identities, is due to the fact that y'all are sneaky mofos that hide your identities with masks, with lies, with, so shoot the messenger here, I guess, is how they go about it. But here is a video from Nate Dennison's page about his work for his nonprofit, Through Your Eyes, just so you can get an idea for yourselves. Oh, by the way, let me just finish reading some of the funny things she wrote on this post with Errol Medicine, and in which she talks about how most of the posts from my shows are all my own kids and my own husband posting comments from fake accounts. And then goes on to say that there are few people in my world, and that 80 to 85% of the time I'm wrong, but that since Standing Rock, I was 95% right most of the time, and only 5% left. So I wanted to share a video of Nate Dennison through my eyes, from his organization, through my eyes, to give you an idea of what his work is about and what he claims he's doing. Here's a clip.
In the United States, but this is all over.
Okay.
But it's live?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay. You get it or you get it?
Oh, you give a tour. You
Okay.
walk around. You can go wherever. When you're finished, come back here. You can have my, give it back to me.
Me talk?
Yeah, you talk.
Okay. In Spanish or speak English?
English.
Okay.
And if you want to, you can, this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Turn around so you can talk.
Okay.
And then back.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias.
Okay. Yep. Okay. I want to stay here. Everybody's look good. He's not having trouble. A lot of children play very good for the women. A lot of people is coming for the United States. It's hop the caravana for Honduras and the marina. The Mexico is hop too. For everybody is given the food. It's given the breakfast. It's given the dinner too, and a lot of people is hop over here, and a lot of people is for the Central America, Honduras, Guatemala, Salvador, Nicaragua, South America, and well, you see what happened over here. Everybody's having the relax, is not have a problem, is have everything, socks, shoes, clothes, panting, have the medicine too. Is not have in trouble, nothing. A lot of people is comfortable over here, and they have the little house. You see what it say over here, and
Notice that there was 2 tents that said abolish ICE and ICE out of LA, spray painted on the tents. And he pointed it out. He shows you the tents.
But well, it's look good. You see that behind to me, it's a lot of people. It's stop every day. You know, see. You see my friend is in the bed right now, so it's look good right now. You know, maybe sleeping. You eat right now. ¿Ya comiste ahorita? No?
We film outside.
Okay.
Not in here, outside, I guess.
Okay, outside. I'll give it to you outside.
I'll walk you outside. We go together.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
You
Correct.
keep going.
So I ask you something. What are you thinking for the over here, everybody, people, and?
What do I think? It's a lot.
A lot of people a lot of people is comfortable over here. Is having everything, food, clothes, medicine too. Is not have a problem.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. Excuse me, con permiso. No puede entrar con el
Mira la señora para hoy.
They're saying you can't go inside without food, with food, excuse me.
Well, you see outside is a lot of people too.
No, I'm my own. Like,
So there's some.
yeah, this is border agent.
Hola.
No, gracias, me quiero decir salir.
Oh, okay. No worry. It's okay. No problem.
Though,
Yep.
Those are some activists that he was talking to, Nate Dennison was talking to in English about going and catching some form of transportation, and they were making arrangements, and he did not, none of them wanted to be on camera.
This is different.
Once again, he's going into a different location. This is
This
a Pueblos
is-
Sin Fronteras tent.
It's different. Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of different people, you know?
Okay,
It's
yeah.
different place.
Which organization are you again? What's your organization? Pueblos Sin Fronteras. Pueblos Sin Fronteras?
Yep.
Okay.
I organize the current.
Oh, really? These are great people.
Did you hear that, folks? Listen. He's going to walk away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what he says. Oh, there's no sound.
Yep.
The sound was muted for some reason. He says, did you
Really?
hear
Yeah.
They can speak the ball.
he said the people, did you hear what they said? He asked them, they're from Pueblos Sin Fronteras. They said they organized the caravan. They're the ones that organized the caravan.
Ah.
Do you remember how many times we've been told by people in Pueblos Sin Fronteras, including Irineo Mujica, that said, we did not organize the caravan.
Mm-hmm.
We were just simply accompanying the caravan. There's the people from Pueblos Sin Fronteras. This is a video, if you don't remember, from Tijuana, from the event center El Barretal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's old video when there was lots and lots of people in El Barretal. It looks like there was a peak capacity at this time.
Yep.
I'm guessing there was around 2,000 and some people at that time when this video was taken. But for somebody that creates media and is supposedly a documentary filmmaker, there is surprisingly little video out there
Yeah.
on any of his pages, including the Facebook page for his nonprofit organization and his website, including those. I looked at his LinkedIn, Duke.
Yeah.
His job history is really spotty. It reminds me of a lot of these mercenary activists that are sort of mediocre in their history of work and achievements, and therefore they're always broke or homeless or squatting somewhere, like Joshua Nichols, who's also part of the group of people that are connected to Mr. Dennison and Lilith Sinclair and all of those folks from the Border Support Network and Antifa. And it has credited one accomplishment at the bottom. That accomplishment was listed as the making of the documentary. I can't remember. It's something like "I Am a Man" or something like that. I don't know. I tried to look it up.
I am a scam.
I couldn't find it. It doesn't exist. It doesn't. He's like Sinbad, Amadeo, Rumney, Guggenheim, the Frenchman that went to Tijuana and said he escorted the caravan and was a documentary filmmaker. I'm making air quotes here because I couldn't find a single documentary by either of these people. None of these people that claim, I'm a photographer. Where are your photos? I'm a documentary filmmaker. Where's your film?
Yep. Exactly.
Where is it?
Mm-hmm.
And notice, that he basically walks around with this migrant who he handed his film equipment to. And you see a lot of butt shots of Nate Dennison with this guy just wandering around behind him, taking video of his derriere and the back of his head.
Yep.
And he keeps like, no, film other stuff. Don't film me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of his films consist of, those very few films that do exist. Nonetheless, Dennison posts about his legal battle with comments from Lilith Sinclair. Here, he posts this poster. Is this the legal battles with Lilith Sinclair? This one is the one where he's talking about how humanitarian aid in journalism are not a crime.
Yeah.
Does anyone think this is a bad idea for a poster for his legal battle? He asks, and in the comments, you've got him talking about how he threw the idea together and was tired of reaching out to some artists to make T-shirts worthy, but he hasn't found anyone that'll help him make a T-shirt, so he made it himself. And then further down, somebody gives him a tip on what he should put on it. And further down, we have somebody giving him props for his. Keep going, please, till we get to Lilith Sinclair. She says, I'm also really liking the concept, but I agree that the language and text reads a little bit off. So she's commenting and helping him out. And here is his humanitarian aid. Journalism is not a crime. I think this is his final one, humanitarian aid in journalism. And he tags Through My Eyes Foundation, his nonprofit. And in the comments, you'll see, he says, I feel for so many people. Can you read that one for me?
You have to make it a little bigger so I can see it.
You can do whatever you'd like.
I don't know where it went right now.
Oh, you took the graphic away?
I guess.
Why is that?
I have to look. One moment, please.
One moment, please. How did that happen?
Hold on.
So what it said,
It's
I guess I'll have to read it since it got taken down. But what was stated in the comments, I'm trying to save my voice a little because I'm having some trouble. And I've started to get some kind of a breathing infection, it feels like. And so I need
Here we go.
help.
It came back. I feel so many people that really want to go there, go to these shows and just couldn't. Just as I feel for the asylum seekers along the border. The government targeted me and 58 other people providing aid and documenting asylum seekers in Tijuana, Mexico. I'm flagged from leaving the country and continuing our work. ACLU is amazing and on the case for the ones the government is unlawfully tracking and doing this to. I just want to get back to giving a voice to others, so this could be a good means, and they also gives two people the chance to see the
Avail. It's a movie.
And I have to see where this is so I can move it.
There's nothing else to see because that's the end of it.
Good.
Next, there's a Richmond law firm he talks about. That is the law firm that is going to help defend him. It's called, the graphic for this is called Richmond Law Firm, nonprofit. And he was talking about here how he needs to get his nonprofit off the ground because really it's not really off the ground. Can you read that one?
Yeah, humanitarian aid is not a crime. Journalistic documentation is not a crime. I currently have my passport flagged and advised not to allow entry into other countries. This is a blatant dismissal of the First Amendment. Homeland Security and all of the 59 people on that list put me as a suspected Antifa organizer, all because Storyful sold my stolen IP and credited a group I'm not part of.
Okay, so here he is denying that he is part of Antifa.
Yep.
And that may very well be so, but if that is the case, he is close to, posted with, linked to many, many, many people who are openly Antifa.
Yep.
And that might be one of the reasons why people are investigating him, I'm guessing. I would love to give him the benefit of the doubt. And of course, I'm going to show you everything I could find on him so that you guys can go and look for yourselves. Here's his post about Antifa, in which he denies that he is part of it again. And he said,
I reached out to NBC7 San Diego just now to get the unblurred photo sent to me. Department of Homeland Security has me listed as an Antifa organizer. Thanks to Storyful stealing and selling my IP around the world, I don't know how things on the social media go viral, but this is literally destroying my nonprofit and me. I am planning on going to Washington, D.C. the moment I get this photo and heading straight to the Department of Homeland Security headquarters. This is why I created a nonprofit. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you are on. People narrate the story to fit their agenda. Yeah.
You can see Hugo Castro is right there, which we featured in my last show. He's one of the leaders of the Border Angels, along with its founder, Mr. Morones, who set up a narco wedding with Border Patrol in attendance as basically like it tricked them into looking like they were bodyguards at a
Yeah.
narco wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
So that severed the relationship of good faith between Border Patrol agents and that organization. Since then, many of the founders and workers of Border Angels, the Border Support Network, and Antifa anarchists have been investigated as part of this international smuggling operation by the FBI, by the federal government, by Homeland Security, by Interpol, by Mexican authorities, and many more agencies with alphabets in their name, which I have shown you before. In the comments of this post, in which he is complaining about the situation, he says, Storyful is to blame for what happened. Here, Mr. Acker says, I would be careful about blaming the media because other journalists that didn't have what happened to you are also being targeted. This is state repression at its finest, and disregarding who the culprits are is dangerous. Dennison says it was Storyful who sold his media around the world and credited it to Antifa. He says he's not Antifa, and he simply runs a 501c3 nonprofit that works with kids. I've seen a lot of brown and black kids in his videos and pictures, but not so much of the kids making media. I haven't been able to find instances of the kids making media, which is what his nonprofit supposedly is empowering children of color to do for themselves, tell their own stories. That I haven't seen so much. Anyway, he says the media just ran what they were sold. So other media outlets, he says, just ran the stories that they were sold. And they go back and forth talking about that. And then someone asks him, do you have proof that Storyful sold your story and credited it to Antifa? And Dennison says, I have a lawsuit on it. I have direct proof, email admitting to it. Well, I don't know if having a lawsuit and or an email is actual proof, but okay. Then John Acker says, while the Antifa part is probably because of the media. And Phillips says he saw an article about the federal government surveilling of journalists, the ones that are reporting at the border. And Dennison says, yeah, that's what's been going on with me. I wish I knew how to put my feelings into words a little bit better at the moment. I was literally just sent the link to the article at the same moment I saw it pop up on my phone. And he goes on to say, yep, I'm 100% on their list and the only person listed as Antifa. This is important, folks, because he is listed as an Antifa organizer. Those are the allegations made by the various agencies of our government and other governments that are investigating this group of people. He said, but also as an organizer, absolutely what I am not on both counts, but fork me in the nonprofit, right? And so he's saying, alleging there that his nonprofit is suffering because of these allegations and this investigation into his work. Well, he goes on to post the San Diego story, NBCSanDiego.com, where the leaked documents show the government tracking. And he talks to Lilith Sinclair. Lilith says this is effed up. And remember, Lilith Sinclair's real name is Kiara Horsley. She is a sex worker, anarchist, Antifa, administrator of the Border Support Network page, has been in Mexico in the Barretal, in front of Benito Juarez, at the Viento y Marea shelter, as well as at the camps with the Carrizo Come Crudo tribe and Evan Duke. Nate says to her, I'm not totally sure. It was created after I left TJ. This is that post I showed you a little bit of before. Al Otro Lado just posted about it as well, and it's still current for them. The biggest thing is what everyone is listed as. Out to everyone and their list administrator, okay, Caravan of the I think he meant to say of the Caravan Support Network Facebook page. You should look at 7 of 9 on the top left. I'm the only one listed as Antifa, but also an organizer. The amount of damage this has on my nonprofit is huge. I can't leave the country at the moment. Oops, I did not expand the next comment completely, but Lilith responds, yes, I saw about the Facebook group. That was one of my immediate concerns considering my status, she's an admin, in the group of the same name. A traveling friend just got detained in Canada recently, and they brought up Antifa things. It's growing. I recognize a number, and it goes on to say of the people in the list. Yes, because she works with all of them.
Yeah.
Not just a number, Lilith. Don't lie. She does a lot of them. Then you see the mugshot, or his picture in this investigation database. And it's got suspected Antifa organizer after the name of after the section where it says role of what his role is. It says that an alert was placed on his passport and that they are tracking him. And his full name, Nathaniel Garrett Dennison. Someone says to him that, excuse me, you have to scroll down quite a bit here, where they're talking about the more you know and the little star. Excuse me, folks. And you'll see a storyful. Keep going till you go to the storyful post. Melissa Longsden, posted this wiki on the group Storyful, which I will show you a little bit bigger later, but basically it says that it is a media intelligence agency headquartered in Dublin, Ireland. That is a subsidiary of Rupert Murdoch's News Corp. Okay, folks? Just thought you should know. Then Irma Garrido says in Spanish to Nate, what if I told you that the same people from Pueblos Sin Fronteras gave up names to the government to smear them all? Would you believe me? And she goes on to say, and it looks like I am not on that list. Nate responds to Irma saying, you are a great name of the people. They know who you are, and they wouldn't be stupid enough to put you in this. Irma responds, thanks, Nate. You have my entire support and friendship. Then, further on down, you have Jamie Skapowski. You remember her?
Oh, yeah.
She is one of the Antifa-connected people that was in Tijuana who is connected to Evan Duke. And she says, I was sure that was you. I'm surprised not to see myself in there. I'm going to call today to find out for sure. And then if you scroll down further, Nate says he's already talking to journalists that were covering the story since last night. But yeah, El Otro Lado and other people there are helping, are in the list, and he is emailing them as well. Jamie responds, please let me know anything you find out. We should be in communication with the ACLU on this one for sure. Let me know if I can support you in any other ways. Some others I recognized blurred from Playas on here, so she knows who the people in the list are as well. Because, of course, once again, she works with a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And Leila Graham, Leila? I don't know why I can't say that name, says she's going to help him get a lawyer. And then Jamie drops her picture from the investigation. She goes, yep, I'm on the list, everybody. Please send me your support. And Lilith says, cutest pic of you, hopefully. I emailed like 45 minutes ago. Hope to hear back soon. And Jamie says, gee, thanks. Sure could have picked a better one.
Oh, yeah, right.
And that's pretty much it. What do you make of all of that? It's crazy. Do you think that he is completely innocent, white little dove that has
Of course not.
absolutely no reason to be in this list, Duke? What's your thought?
No, of course not. In fact, I remember when this stuff was happening, there was so many people that were, it's like it was this badge of honor. Like, I have to see if I'm on the list, because the list that was actually published by NBC San Diego 7 had a certain number of images, but if you looked at the numbering, it was from a larger report. It's like they didn't have all the people that were being investigated. They had a certain number of them. But a lot of people were like, am I on the list? And everybody's checking, am I on the list? So they started treating it without seriousness, that, I'm going to check to see if I'm in this list. And, if I'm on this list and I shouldn't be on it, I'm going to try to get my name off it and do whatever I can to vindicate these accusations that are being made about me. But a lot of these Faktivist's initial response is like, oh, am I on there too? So they're kind of like having this street cred for being one of the people named. Then also, there's a lot of people that actually freaked out when they saw their name on there, and they're thinking, oh my God, especially the ones that are up to no good, And some are using it to milk their activism, like Nicole Ramos is just like, I'm on a list, she just presents it. Look how I am being victimized. Look how I'm being treated unfairly by this government of this country, just trying to do this humanitarian work. And, we've already seen some of her humanitarian work that is illegal. So this guy, I don't give a pass at all. And like I said, some of the people, and most of the people I saw initially responding to this stuff was excitement and street cred if they were on the list too.
It would be hard to believe some of the allegations against people that are part of these two organizations in this lawsuit, like Otro Lado, unless we had seen them for ourselves with our own eyes and heard the lies coming out of Nicole Ramos's mouth with our own ears when we were at the ABS conference and she was asked if she was practicing law without a license in Mexico and said no. And then we found contracts that showed the opposite. We also saw fake marriages and the information produced by Pastor Albert Rivera of those certificates. We also learned that Al Otro Lado volunteers, again, air quotes, like, Lolly B and Mitchell Verterer and River Doherty were committing all sorts of heinous acts, including giving drugs to the migrants, kidnapping an unaccompanied minor, and giving false hope and misinformation to the migrants that are at the border. And wouldn't you know it, another video appears of Mitchell Verterer at El Chaparral doing just that. Here's a clip of him. I'm going to have to translate for you. And he is talking to them about filling out paper for their asylum claims and telling them that they need to go to El Enclave Caracol, hotbed for Antifa activists and Al Otro Lado lawyers and volunteers. Here it is. It's a form in English. So, I have some right around here somewhere. If you want, the people at Enclave Caracol can help you. Also, where is it in Enclave Caracol? You don't know where it is? Come over here. He's waving someone over.
Do you have any maps to Caracol? I'm telling them about the 589.
No, but I can go get them.
Yeah, go get them. Okay.
So,
Además, yo puedo ayudarte.
and I can also help you.
Yo creo
I believe
la mejor cosa
the best thing
para usted
for you
llenarlo en español
is to fill it out in Spanish
y buscar bien
and to
que
look for
puede
someone
traducirlo
that can
en
translate
inglés,
it to
okay?
English. Okay? So he's given instructions. If there are any more videos of what he is telling these folks to do and not do, I have heard, and we did interviews in Tijuana to this effect, that they're giving people a green light, telling them you will get asylum, guaranteeing people asylum that haven't been in front of a judge. They haven't even had their first credible fear interview. Mm-hmm. So it's unethical at best and criminal activity on the part of some of these people at worst, in my humble opinion. What do you think? Here is the Storyful wiki that I showed you was linked there. That shows that Storyful.com is Rupert Murdoch News Corp.
Oh yeah, I see.
And here is a Richmond article, and I'll share the link with you from this article so that y'all can check out the full article for yourselves. From Richmond.com, it is titled, folks, that he founded in Richmond nonprofit and went to Mexico to work with migrants. Now he's on a government watch list. This is dated April 19 by Graham Mumma. This is the author of this. And it says in this one excerpt from this that I wanted you to focus on, that Storyful, a media company that seeks out newsworthy social media content and distributes it to news outlets, shared one of his videos. And it attributed the video to Seattle Anti-Fascist Action, a Facebook group, after the page claimed ownership of that material because Seattle Anti-Fascist Action said it was their video. Mm-hmm. And it says, when Storyful learned Dennison had shot that video, it removed the footage, according to company representatives. Storyful's original attribution did not overtly link Dennison to the Seattle Anti-Fascist Action Group because it didn't even include his name. Reuters also reported that an activist group calling itself the Border Support Network, which included some self-described anti-fascist, had helped the migrants during the January 1st violent clash that included tear gas and rubber bullets with Border Patrol. You remember that? Like 150 to 200 people rushed the wall and tried to climb over, and there was another violent action. Dennison said he was not there to help anyone enter the country illegally, though, if necessary, he would have rendered basic aid to those who needed it. Sounds like he's one of those street medics, Duke.
Yep, exactly.
You think he's a street medic that's like Mulaney Stoneman, the kidnapper?
Mm-hmm.
He said, quoted, If someone fell down retreating away from the wall when they were firing tear gas and non-lethal bullets, I would pick them up. Now, do you remember the article that they are referring to in Reuters? I'm going to get to it in just a minute if you don't. But let me just show you what else this article says about Dennison's nonprofit. There's a whole section about the nonprofit through your eyes. The Richmond article, if you could show the graphic here, there's a separate, this is the article screen capture, is it not?
Yes.
Okay, I want the one that says non-profit, which is right after that one. It's the next one.
Don't have to swim. Okay.
Yeah, this says non-profit.
That one?
Yeah. And as you can see, there's a whole section on the non-profit right there. And if you scroll down, it says that, can you read that?
Yes, a St. Louis native, Dennison battled homelessness in his youth. He bounced between jobs in film, theater, photography, music, and haunted house design, spending time in Richmond, Virginia, Virginia Beach, and Chicago, as well as working abroad in Thailand, Haiti, and Mexico. Dennison organized his nonprofit in Richmond in 2017. Its limited funding has come mostly from friends and acquaintances. Dennison said, as it remains more of an idea than an established organization with a clear track record. Dennison's Facebook page includes multiple appeals for funding, equipment, and volunteers for the nonprofit. Most of them didn't appear to draw a strong response.
Okay, so you've heard that his nonprofit was just getting off the ground. Those were his own words,
Yep,
right?
just
We're
started
talking
out.
about the lawsuit, folks. If you're just joining us, my show, Legal Battles, is focusing on the plaintiffs of the lawsuit against the Trump administration, CBP, Border Patrol, and the FBI. Okay? And who are the plaintiffs? One of them, well, we already know the Nicole Ramos, we already know the two lawyers from Al Otro Lado, and we know a lot about Al Otro Lado. If you've been watching my shows, you've heard all of the allegations against them. Nate Dennison, not so much. So I'm breaking it down. He says he was smeared by Storyful. It says in this article, Storyful didn't directly link him or even use his name, and they took down the video once he was known to be the actual source and not the Seattle Antifa group.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
What does it say about his nonprofit? Now we're talking about damages here. He said it wasn't really off the ground yet and that this investigation is really killing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't off the ground, so how can you kill something that's not really there?
Yep.
In this article, he told the reporter that it was more of an idea than a real organization, and that most of his posts are pleas for money, volunteers, and equipment, which don't get a very strong response from anyone.
Yep.
What does that tell you about his nonprofit? You're an executive director of many nonprofits that you helped start and that you have successfully run for decades.
Well, it says to me that, he's just starting out. In fact, what in that article, they said that most of the funding he got in the initial launch of his nonprofit came from family and friends. So if his reputation is being hurt so bad, it's family and friends, and they would be close enough to him to know of things he's doing or not doing. And when he started a nonprofit, only in 2017, it takes a long time to be able to build things up. If he's trying to write grant proposals, they can take 3 to 6 months before you actually get approved. And you have to go through all sorts of things to actually get into the final round to actually be considered for funding. So it's like, sounds to me it was just a hobby idea. I don't know what he really filed. I didn't actually try to look up his nonprofit and see if he did the short form or the long form. But, it takes a chunk of change to get going in the first place. And it just seems to me that this is just something that was starting out. So his claim on how his nonprofit has been hurt immensely, I think he's just making that stuff up.
I would be surprised if he has a real claim. I mean, if he has a real 501c3, because a lot of these folks claim that they do, or that they're nonprofits when they're not. Mm-hmm. And many of them, many times, are not in good standing when they are.
Yeah.
And they have many times very questionable financial statements, if they're even all in there and complete. So, on to the Reuters article mentioned in that same piece. Do you remember that Reuters article? I will share a link to the Reuters article for the rest of you here to go and check out for yourselves. But here is a screen capture called Reuters article with Lilith Sinclair as the spokesperson, the woman pictured in the photo of this Reuters article written by Julia Love and Mohammed Salem is none other than Jamie Skopowski, the lady that was at the Viento y Marea shelter, one of the people from the Border Support Network, along with Evan Duke. She's cradling a migrant who seems to be in some sort of pain. And as you can see below the photo is a quote by the reporters saying, it's highlighted so it'll be easy for you to find on this article. It says, after learning of a possible conflict, how did they know? 11 U.S. volunteers who were in Tijuana headed to the border to provide medical assistance. Again, how did these people become medics, Dave?
Yep, exactly.
And document the events, said Lilith Sinclair, a spokesperson for the group. You remember now? You remember this now?
Yep.
Where she was called the spokesperson. And in this article, further on down in this next screen capture from the same Reuters article, you're going to see the screen capture of Evan Duke. That says Lilith Sinclair spokesperson. We're looking for Evan Duke and Nate Dennison. Here it says, in mid-November, the group opened a safe house in Tijuana, housing 25 volunteers at a time, most from the U.S., and this is a quote by Evan Duke of Seattle, one of the organizers. You suppose he has anything to do with that Seattle Antifa group, Duke?
I think so.
The Border Support Networks is funded largely by individual donations, said Lilith Sinclair. Kiara Horsley. Reuters didn't even check for her real name. I guess you can give fake names to Reuters, and they won't fact check them. The group mobilized quickly after receiving word of the clash, heading out with warm cloths, medical supplies, and water, said Duke, age 45. He stayed behind to support volunteers from the safe house, adding that the activists had not transported any migrants to the scene, I doubt that, to the border, or otherwise instigated the incident. I also doubt that. And it says, an independent volunteer, Nathaniel Dennison, a 34-year-old documentary filmmaker who hasn't made a single documentary film that I can find online, based out of Virginia, said the mood in the border was hopeful and peaceful until Border Patrol acted on asylum seekers unprovoked. Dennison said he was struck by 3 plastic pellets. Are you going to scroll down for me to read the rest of this, please?
I don't think there is more.
Could you scroll down and check for me, please?
Yeah, one moment, please.
That would be great, because I think there is. Oh, no, it's not. It says, the CBP says it does not deploy. There's no more. But, interestingly, in this article, it mentions the fact, and this is the part I was hoping to find there at the bottom, it mentions the fact that somebody captured from Dennison had captured on one of his own videos, Antifa looking person dressed all in black with their face covered, throwing a tear gas canister back at Border Patrol. So obviously his own video is telling a different story. And I'll show you that too. I'll show you that video in a moment here. He has posted about no more deaths in solidarity with no more deaths. Here is an article from abcnews.go.com on his page where he is talking about people being punished for leaving water. Water is life. Here's another one where he's doing a GoFraud.me. This is a GoFundMe for his organization through My Eyes Foundation. I doubt he has a real foundation. And it is highlighting, if you go scrolling and scrolling to where the words are, that, can you read a little bit of this? The most important paragraph, Duke, here. We already know about his nonprofit.
Yeah.
I would like you to go down to, he talks about his receiving help from Feed the Scene and a woman named Rachel Taft. And how he went to the Barretal, which we already saw. But this next paragraph, we are raising money to continue our work, not only in Tijuana. Could you continue from there?
Yeah, not only in Tijuana, but along the entire border, working with asylum seekers at multiple ports of entry. Furthermore, Through My Eyes is working with the tribal nations along the border. The Carrizo, Corundo tribe and tribal leader Juan Mancias are currently taking a stand in protecting the land along the so-called Mexican-American border, setting up village-based camps at key places along the border, protecting historic churches, grave sites, spiritual grounds, the Butterfly Center, and homes of longtime residents. The Tohono O'odham tribe in southern Arizona is faced with a border wall going through their sovereign nation reservation, replacing the fencing and gates they already had put in. This new wall would cut off about 2,000 tribal members living on the southern side of the international boundary, something that has already been a challenge with the ever-growing immigration and border policies. We're asking for donations to get the gear and the means to help the youth from all of these communities to tell their stories. We do not have an answer to the issues people face, but we believe that we as humans are taking the right step by listening to the communities first. Help us give a voice to the asylum seekers and the tribal nations along the border by donating towards the purchase of Canon C100s, Mavic Pro drones, road mics, cards, food, travel expenses for the volunteers.
We know who these people are. There's Bridges of Love across border.
Yeah.
He says that any funds over that will be given toward existing efforts. These include Somisec Village Camp, the Butterfly Center, Brownsville Asylum Seeker efforts, Cheryl Angel and her efforts with the new caravan, Birdie Gutierrez, and Bridges of Love across border, and more. I know who the more are. How much money did they raise for this GoFraud.me, Duke?
I don't know.
Can you tell me?
Is it on there?
Oh, yeah. It tells you right at the very top.
Oh.
over on the right-hand side what their
I have to go up there then.
amount was that they raised.
Scroll.
Oh, I didn't screen capture it.
Nope, you didn't put it
Well,
in
let me go ahead and tell you what it was. It was about $300.
there. Oh,
Like all of the other fundraisers on his page, I never saw one even reach 500, Duke. That's how poorly the people who are his friends and family must think of him, and because they don't really support him very much financially. Look at the connections, not only to the people in the Border Support Network, but to the Carrizo Come Crudo tribe, who we know is connected to AIM, who we know goes all the way back to Standing Rock, the Tohono O'odham tribe, who are connected to cartel trafficking of people and drugs. It is literally rampant there. And the police from Pima County know they cannot go on to reservation lands, which means it's a free-for-all. It's open season for trafficking of people and drugs. And we've shown reports by other news stations of investigative journalism that has taken for more than a year. I think it was NBC, where they showed that a large percentage, 40-some% of the Tohono O'odham residents have law enforcement issues, have had a felonious background because of their incursion into smuggling. Remember the report we did on that?
yep, I sure am.
So I think that this GoFundMe is very telling of all of those things in which he has associated himself and supports. Here he is shooting a video in which we have the tribe people, AIM-connected tribe people, and Vanessa Dundas. See if you can catch Vanessa in the video. It's very short, so don't blink because you'll miss her. Society of Native Nations. There she was. Did you see her? And the pan happened. That's where Vanessa is. There's Vanessa again.
There she is.
She's got that little scarf, right? Those are those AIM jackets that you've seen. Right? Society of Native Nations flag was in there. So they're involved. And we also have, in scene 5, the Seattle Anti-Fascist Action page that is cited, that posted these videos, this video of his, supposedly, that Nate Dennison was the person that actually took the video. It says, "Great job, comrades." Here's the Facebook page. Here's a post, one of their posts, about how ICE agents have taken only 35 out of the 2,000 people they were going to deport in these raids into custody, and they are blaming the community defense efforts for the success. Keep it up, y'all. So we know, this is confirmation once again, Antifa is involved in these actions to stop enforcement of deportation orders. And the Seattle Antifa video here from their page that they're, I believe this is the video that was attributed to Dennison from this Facebook page, but I could be wrong. Anyway, you can see there that it's a march. Does that video screen capture look familiar to you at all, Duke?
Yeah, it looks very familiar.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because we saw it before I showed it to you. It was on Evan Duke's page.
Yep.
Here's the same video. And you can see over to the right of the video where he actually posted a link to an article and said, truthout.org article, massive anti-fascist coalition rebuffs far-right Proud Boys in Portland. So we know that Evan Duke is from Seattle. We know that he posted this video originally. Here is Evan Duke's video. Here is Dennison's video that he made that includes an Antifa all in black person throwing back a tear gas canister at the police. It's called Democracy Now! Posts Through My Eyes. And it reads as follows. This is from the Through My Eyes Foundation, one of the few posts. Here you can see There was another donation drive there, and it raised a whole whopping $180.
Oh, boy.
What does it say? What are they talking
It
about?
says, we traveled down to Mexico last year to work with the asylum seekers in a migrant caravan. Our work was lost after being targeted by our own government. I, Nathaniel Danielson, the executive director was labeled an Antifa organizer. Humanitarian aid is not a crime. The media that was stolen and sold to news media around the world by News Corp and Storyful credited a Seattle-based Antifa group. Yeah, we've heard the story.
Let's take a look at that video that he posted here.
One moment.
It includes part of Democracy Now!'s reporting and his own storytelling about events.
Newly revealed documents show the U.S. government created a secret database of activists and journalists who were documenting the Trump administration's efforts to thwart a caravan of migrants hoping to win asylum in the U.S. An investigation from San Diego's NBC7 revealed the list was shared among Homeland Security Investigations, ICE, Customs and Border Protection, and the FBI. It included the names of 10 journalists, 7 of whom were U.S. citizens, along with nearly 4 dozen others listed as organizers or instigators. Some of the journalists and at least one immigration lawyer had alerts placed on their passports that prevented them from entering Mexico. Others on the list reported they were stopped by Mexican police or were subjected to lengthy interviews and searches when re-entering the U.S.
Providing a decent standard of living.
We live in an age where those that provide humanitarian aid are treated as criminals. I, along with 58 other people, was targeted by the U.S. government for being present and providing that aid. My name is Nathaniel Dennison, Executive Director of Through My Eyes Foundation. The government is targeting me as an Antifa organizer. News Corp and Storyful, a multi-billion-dollar company, stole my media and credited it to an Antifa group based out of Seattle. I lost the work of the nonprofit and the aid I was providing because of those 2 events. Where I had gone down just to give a voice to humans, we're now fighting a system that would call us the bad guys just for being there. Along the border is our response. We'll be going back to the border and traveling from Brownsville, Texas, to Tijuana, Mexico, to create a documentary of the voices along the border.
And here's a guy throwing the canister
seekers,
back.
Native nations, homeowners, humanitarians, and activists that are all present. While working beside and showing the work of those already present, we'll be creating a video blog and podcast to keep the viewers current with our work and giving voices to those we help. We do welcome regular donations as they are a tax write-off, but we have decided to raise the money needed in a different way. We've created shirts and buttons. Each person that purchases a shirt will be given a link to the finished documentary before it is available to the public. Humanitarian aid and journalism is not a crime. We are setting out on this project in response to what has happened to us and others for caring about fellow humans and being present. Stand with us.
People are dying. People die whenever they are fleeing violence. They get sent back to the violence. And we created the violence in the first place.
This is Brendan Tucker, Brownsville, Texas bus depot. This is Brendan Tucker in Tucker's kitchen. In July, Brendan Tucker started camping out here, protesting and monitoring Southwest Keys case, Casa El Presidente Detention Center in Brownsville.
And there's twice as many kids at Casa Padre, which is down the street. That's the Walmart location.
Every day he visits the Brownsville bus depot.
Now, after coming down here and realizing that this problem was going on for a while, even though that now the zero tolerance policy is happening, I've just been dropping off these people at the bus station. Nothing for a long time now. Usually the bus will roll up, stop here, let everybody out, not say a word.
Brendan and people from the group Angry Tias help asylum seekers just released from detention travel safely to their sponsors.
So this is where people are asleep, expected to sleep.
The bus depot closed at 11 p.m., so many spend the night outside.
What I'd like to do is, there's some really cheap apartments down there, and I'm fixing to make a GoFundMe tonight. Yeah, so you can see just how close it is. It's that place right there. It'd be great to have the women to sleep in one room because nobody knows each other. You know what I mean? And then me and the other guys sleep in the other room, and then we can make food and meals instead of sandwiches and waters and crackers and Cheetos and pizza. You know, because it's more expensive to buy that stuff.
Last few days, Brendan has raised enough money to start renting the space. You can help keep it going by going to the GoFundMe at the Kitchen for Asylum Seekers.
You're funny, Duke.
Intro clap by Democracy Now!
But the point I'm trying to make here is that there is more to these folks connected to Antifa, which includes violence and crimes, that I don't know that these people are oblivious to. You know that they have been working side by side for so long. How could they not know the crimes that have been attributed to those in their group, including kidnapping a kid from a shelter, kidnapping kids, giving drugs to the migrants, and so many other things that we have shown you evidence of? You really believe Dennison doesn't know anything about it? Tucker doesn't know anything about it? They're all just like innocently going through and working with these folks without any inkling of the horrible things that they're involved with. I don't know if I buy it. Listen, this is what we know from a journalist, one of the many who have been attacked for what appears to be absolutely no reason other than the fact that Antifa disagrees with their point of view. Here is a Desert Visions post about journalist Andy No, editor at Quillette. And it says,
in the early hours on Saturday, police in Tacoma, Washington rushed to the local Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility. An armed man was firebombing the building and nearby vehicles. Police killed him in a shootout after he attempted to set off a large propane tank connected to the facility. Antifa social media accounts subsequently identified their fallen comrade as Willem van Spronsen. The unreported incident marks a new chapter in the return of armed left-wing terrorists to the United States. It also triggered a flash of memory in the mind. I had crossed paths with Van Spronsen in December when a group of rifle-carrying Antifa militiamen tried to prevent me from filming their protests outside Seattle City Hall.
This is a quote of the author of the linked article here, Andy No. And this is what they did to him. Go on, Duke.
Little did I know that when I would soon have a more immediate encounter with Antifa violence. 2 weeks ago, I was left hospitalized with a brain hemorrhage after a mob of mask-clad rioters beat and robbed me while I was covering a demonstration in downtown Portland, Oregon. The attack claimed by Rose City Antifa was caught on videos that went viral online.
And there is a link to Andy No's New York Times article about this. I will share that with you. I'm not going to read the whole article. This is just the headline here. It's called "Liberals Cheer as Antifa Violence Escalates," July 17, 2019. So you can go and check it out for yourself. Andy No, as we have talked about before on my show, was brutally attacked, as he said. And we showed you video of that attack, and we showed you how Evan Duke said he was there also.
That's right.
And again, so was Willem van Spronsen. He has encountered, Andy No has encountered Willem van Spronsen, the terrorist that tried to blow up this facility with migrants in it.
Mm-hmm.
And who died in that shootout. But Antifa leaders, Antifa advocates like Evan Duke called this man not a terrorist, but a hero.
And a comrade.
Like people like in the media allies like Sean King call him a hero and an ally. And most recently, this person, I'm going to share a YouTube video with you. He is a trans anarchist Antifa leader. I'm sorry, I'm failing to remember exactly what their name is on social media. They are transgender, and according to them, the terrorist Antifa person, Will von Spronson, who died in the shootout, was also transgender and went by the name of Emma. So you'll hear this person refer to von Spronson both as a hero and as Emma and as they, them, because those were their preferred pronouns. I'm not going to play this whole thing for you. I will share the YouTube video of this tribute to von Spronson. It is crazy. I don't know how many times this person says that they want to see people hanging by their throats with bloodied, beaten, under the 6 feet under and more. It is laden with virulent, violent attacks and wishes. And what is even more surprising is that this person is not just saying von Spronson is a hero and that he should be looked up to, but that what he did needs to become epidemic. It needs to happen all the time. It needs to challenge the government. This person is literally calling for more violence and not just sporadic, but continued violence, and calling for people to arm themselves with guns and be ready to attack. Here is a clip.
Trigger warning. Anyone who identifies as a white nationalist or conservative will be offended by this.
I want to take a moment to give a tribute to Willem von Spronson, also known as Emma DeRudy, because I'm just going to say it. I think they're a hero. I don't care what you fucking say. I think they're a hero. And if you disagree with me, then you're fucking wrong. And you're on the wrong side of morality. I think if you disagree with me, I'm sorry to say, you have no idea what the difference between right and wrong are. I mean, there are many instances in history where people have taken radical positions and I've agreed with them, but this is the one time in my lifetime when I have seen someone taking a radical stance where they put their lives on the line and they fought for something selfless and they died for it. They died for something they believed in. It's something that I noticed that we on the left should resonate with, not just resonate with, but also repeat. Not just repeat, but you have to understand, he's just one individual, right? His death cannot go in vain. We need multiple individuals. We need to have multiple of these instances to happen. What I'm calling for here is that this cannot be an isolated incident where one person storms into an ICE detention center and blows off a car and comes in with an AR-15, and they just die. No, this can't be an isolated incident. Instead, we need to have not just one time that somebody goes in, but not just 2 times. We need to have multiple people coming in, multiple people storming them, and we need to fucking hang those motherfuckers on the fucking tree for all of the fucking country to fucking see. What we need in our world is a non-competitive world where people of color can not worry about, getting shot up, in a mosque. We need a world where the President of the United States isn't gonna make callous remarks such as, you need to go back to your fucking country.
Okay, I will let you guys listen to the rest of that a crazy tirade that he went on.
Yeah.
I disagree. I believe that there was a time when progressive were known for their peaceful stance. Is that wrong, Duke?
Oh, I think so.
What's happened to the people on the left calling for people to arm themselves and hang people from trees? And, what did you make of that?
Oh, I thought it was crazy talk.
Is that representative of the left?
No, yeah.
Of Democrats?
I think
they want to hang people from trees?
I know. I'm just like, what is this guy saying? And we listened to this before we started the show. You actually played a large portion of this video. The more I watched it, the more I thought this guy was way off kilter because he was just saying this crazy stuff. And there was a time I believe that there were some elements of the left that were actually trying to build the community. But, all the way back to Martin Luther King's day and the left progressive, is an enemy of the liberation of people of color, That's because we have white privilege and we have all these other things. But this guy is just going extreme. But also, I think you're right, is there's this calling of people to arm against the government. It's the Antifa movement, and this guy represents that from what I see.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And speaking of the president, the president tweeted about tariffs for Guatemala. This is what Donald J. Trump's Twitter had to say. Could you read that, Duke?
Yes. Guatemala, which has been forming caravans and sending large numbers of people, some with criminal records, to the United States, has decided to break the deal they had with us on signing a necessary safe third agreement. We're ready to go. Now we're looking at the ban. And then his second tweet says, tariffs, remittance fees, and or all of the above.
Right.
Guatemala has not been good. Big U.S. taxpayer dollars going to them was cut off by me 9 months ago.
So the president is taking a hard line stance. He is saying Guatemala is forming caravans.
Yeah.
And the president is right. It turns out that I showed you on a live stream I did recently a new caravan that is starting August 1st, and the kinds of comments being made in there. There is a second WhatsApp conversation from those coming from Guatemala and El Salvador joining this caravan on August 1st. And it's called Sueños Alcanzables, Reachable Dreams. Here are some of the posts made in there. Just to give you a flavor of what's being discussed, I'm going to translate for you. It says, how much money do you need? And Pato Lucas says, I only have 2,500 lempiras. That is the money in Central America. He asked somebody if they're in Mexico. They say, no, I am waiting in Guatemala. And the person asks, well, then why do you have a number that appears to be from Mexico? And the person, Pato Lucas, responds, because I was deported. I had already reached Arriaga, Chiapas, and I am sending messages from here with Wi-Fi. I've never changed the telephone number. In number 2, we see here, they say, if you wish, you can send me private messages. And the person says, okay, excellent. And the guardian of the wall says, I came a month ago. And he says, I am in Mexico. I managed to get here and settle in and get a job. But because I still have yet to receive assistance like the first caravan. And number 3, there's more. Someone responds, seriously? Number 3 shows us that a guardian of the wall says, yeah, because of all of the destruction and bad conduct, of those caravans. Someone responds to him, that's because there's a mix of everything within the caravans. And someone else responds, that's the bad part. Some of us have to pay for the bad actions of a few. And then they follow up with another post that says, but there have been very many of those that have bad conduct, and that has caused problems in Mexico. Someone else responds to that. That is the truth. And someone asks, someone named I Love You, My Love, Te Amo, Mi Amor asks, so they're not helping people anymore? And then number 4, we have, then they ask, or are they? And somebody responds, no, they're not helping people hardly anymore. I don't know if the government still is. And this person with their name is Chicken. It looks like a rotisserie chicken there. It says, I got help from a friend, and I do think that the government is still supportive. And Te Amo, Mi Amor responds, I have been getting supported by the Mexican government. So that I don't fail, especially going with children. Number 5 says, excuse me, Te Amo, Mi Amor, Tati says, what do you mean the government is helping? What I can tell you is that National Guard and immigration agents are at the borders. And Te Amo, Mi Amor says, I think that is important for people to know. Excuse me. I think that is important for people to know that information. But those who are in a caravan are not detained. First, God willing, everything will turn out well for all of us. And Te Amo, Mi Amor responds to the comment about no one in caravans being detained, saying they have detained people in... Oh, Tati responds to that comment by Te Amo, Mi Amor, saying they have detained people in caravans, with caravans. Is that the whole thing?
Yep.
Okay, so we go on to number 6. And it says, things here in Mexico aren't easy, especially when you bring children. And Pato Lucas responds to Te Amo, Mi Amor, saying, the government is supporting the caravans. There is no problem. They're giving them free transportation with some white vans that have red fringe on them. They're a type of van. And Pato Lucas says to Mi Amor, in caravan, they will not detain you. There's an order by the President López Obrador to allow us to pass. And they also give you shelter, food, and medicine. This is what they're talking about, folks, in these WhatsApp chats. Check it out. And someone responds saying, yes, it happens. Caravans are detained, and the Mexican people are sick of this. They don't want anything to do with Hondurans. Pato Lucas responds, false. I was given assistance and medicine at the Siglo Century 21 detention facility, immigration facility. And Pato Lucas responds to that person, well, you're one of the few. And Pato Lucas says, I also got free transport from Arriaga, Tapachula. And the next one here, number 7, says, you got to number 8. We're at number 7 here. Number 7. Yeah, number 7. Oh, that it was number 7?
Yeah, we just finished 7.
Oh, I thought we were on number...
Or number 8.
Oh, we're on number 8 now. Okay. Somebody says, haha, this is false. The people hate caravans now. And someone responds to that, no, they hate the people that pass through with a lack of education and courtesy. Then someone talks about Trump. He says Trump has already given the order that anyone passing through Mexico in an illegal fashion and into the U.S. automatically will lose their right to request asylum, to which Pato Lucas responds, Mexicans are courteous, but they're sick of the horrible lack of education and ingratitude of caravans. That's true, folks. Look, the people that are joining up with the caravans are saying this, Duke.
Yeah.
They recognize it. They know what really has angered and triggered the people of Mexico with all of the trash and the crimes and all of the things that have been done. This next post here says, in response to the comment about Trump, this is true. You now must request asylum in Guatemala. And someone responds to that, yes, they're sick of the public defecation, public drugging, throwing out food given to them, and assaulting authorities. Pato Lucas responds to the comment about Mexicans being courteous. It's true. Hondurans are very demanding, and they don't know how to have manners and say please and thank you. You leave this true, Duke?
Yeah.
The next one goes on and says, and on top of that, they're making demands in a country that isn't even their own. And someone responding to the post about how Mexicans are sick and tired of people pooping in public says that's true. And about the post saying that they're making demands in a country that isn't theirs, responds yes. And on top of that, they want to assault folks. They say that because of the actions of a few, they all have to pay, and that you can't make generalizations, but there has been a majority of them that have done all of these things, and that's why they have won for themselves the repudiation of the Mexican people. In this next post, in this next one, it says, if this continues, things are going to get really ugly and there will be deaths. And just under that post, it says, could you show me what it says, or is that the end of it? There have been killed people already. 3 days ago, they killed 5 people in Arriaga, Chiapas. And it says, that is why I am still in Tecum, Uman, Guatemala, working, crossing merchandise into Mexico. Simply abarrotes, which is like items you would find in grocery stores. Okay? And someone responds, Te amo, mi amor, says, they do help. It's true. The guardian of the mural says, the guardian of the wall says, I have found that being here in Mexico, there's a group of ex-military who call themselves the Reserve, and they're operating at the southern border. They are elite mercenaries that were created by a political opposition leader of the President AMLO in Mexico, and their only objective is to stop the caravans by any means necessary. Be very careful. According to some here in Mexico, they are not in league with the president or support migrants. And the guardian of the wall says, it's true, the Mexican people are sick and tired. Next, it says, yes, it's very lamentable because of the actions of a few. We all have to pay. What guilt do I have? Says Te amo, mi amor. The guardian of the mural, or the wall says, I made friends with some Mexicans here in Mexico, and they would like to meet some honorable and hard-working women with whom they can marry. And somebody responds to that post. Pataluka says, I need one woman, he's referring to a woman, I need one to travel with me and to be my old lady in the U.S. And then the next comment here is, that's the same comment, honey. You have to keep going down. Well, if she's from Honduras, it's even easier. Someone, the guardian of the wall, responds to Patalukas. If she's Honduran, it's easier, or from El Salvador. And somebody said that at the bottom of this says, if she has a good attitude and is willing to work, she will be well received. And finally, I have this conversation in which they say, or from El Salvador, the person responds, and he says, I am currently in Tecún, Guatemala. I have been working to cross merchandise into Mexico. I need a girl, preferably one from El Salvador. And the guardian of the wall says, me too, smile emoji. And Pataluka says, are you in Tamaulipas or in Monterrey? And the guardian of the wall says, I reached Monterrey, but they caught me. There are actually more screen captures that go on after this. Mm-hmm. And they literally talk about getting a woman like you would purchasing a car or ordering a mail order bride.
Exactly. That's
and,
right.
You know, what kind of qualities they want in these women and where they want them from. If you bring them from El Salvador or Honduras, they're prettier. I want one from here. Like it's a catalog order.
It's a dating site. Well, a wife getting site.
It's so near trafficking of women, and it sounds shady as all get out. It was really, really disturbing. So, folks, I don't think that the activists that claim to be human rights defenders, especially those with these legal battles on their hands, are oblivious to the activities of those coming in these caravans and the so-called human rights defenders that are making money and taking advantage of the human suffering and the people that are coming in these caravans to the United States to request asylum. I simply do not believe that they are so oblivious and that they're working unbeknownst to them with Antifa and criminally connected activists. Honestly, I don't know. What do you think? Send me your comments and thoughts. And of course, as always, please support our work. We are heading to Tijuana, Mexico next month to do a deeper investigation on some of these locations we've been reporting about and some of the activism or mercenary activism that we've been telling you about. Don't forget, if you like our reporting, support our work by going to kpppfm.com. That's all for tonight for this show, Legal Battles from a Mexican Crossing Lines, with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You've been listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Thank you and good night.